Now this evening we'll move on to office by office. I'll give each candidate 1 minute to introduce themselves. Then I'll go back and ask the candidate in those particular offices on a one-by-one basis a particular question which was forwarded to them in advance. By the end of this evening, you'll all be able to lip sync that question because I'll ask the same question of everybody and all of the candidates. We'll begin tonight with the, we have a candidate here for the office of Lieutenant Governor, and that would be Cynthia Davis. Cynthia, we'd offer you 1 minute to introduce yourself, and then I'll have a question for you.
Thank you. I'm Cynthia Davis, and I moved here from Massachusetts back in the early 80s. And I don't recommend everybody go live in Massachusetts, but I'll tell you this much. When you get to Missouri, it is so wonderful to be in a freedom-loving state. My husband and I opened a Christian bookstore in O'Fallon, and we were open a short time when we found out that government made a bad decision that hurt all the businesses. So after engaging in the process, I finally realized that we can't fix government unless we're going to get involved and do something to correct the problem. And so I ran for state government. First, I ran for local government and spent over 8 years in O'Fallon city government. And then I ran for state government and spent 8 years in Missouri state government until I got term limited. And then I found out really, all governments have a similar problem, and that is they tend to be greedy and seek to extract the maximum and grow unless somebody slows them down. That's why I'm here.
Cynthia, then my question for you is, what are the top 3 issues facing your constituency, and how in your elected office will you address each of these issues? You have 4 minutes, please.
Sure. Well, first of all, what we really need to get the country back on track and the state is to be constitutional. So while I was in the Missouri State Legislature, I won this award for being the most constitutional legislator in the state of Missouri. And what's cool about the Constitution is it's our common denominator. Everybody can agree that it's time to be constitutional. So what the state really needs is for a lieutenant governor to fulfill the highest obligation, and that is to be the president of the Senate. And the position comes with a platform that's terribly underutilized right now. And what we can do is serve as the conscience for the legislature, because there's several times this last session even when the Republican held House and Senate did things that landed on the governor's desk, and he had to veto it because it was unconstitutional. So when we start speaking the truth, we will make a difference. The other thing is, I'm the only one who is endorsed by Missouri Right to Life in this race. And for anybody who understands the life issue, that is key to most other issues because it has to do with our respect for how we treat people. And if somebody's doing wrong, we need to call them out. The third thing I will do is hold them all accountable. And that's another point that we're not getting right now. When people, let's say it this way, when you have a Republican or a Democrat in that seat, their first goal is to make the Republicans look good or the Democrats look good. And we're not getting real, honest debate. And we're having so much effort go toward cover up and make our party look good so we can all get reelected that there's a great void of truth going out to the citizens. So if both parties have let us down, what is the best way to correct it? Is to have somebody who's willing to be brave enough to stand up and do what's right. I intend to have sessions in my office with the legislators where they can learn what we're doing before it's too late. And having served as a floor whip in the House, I can't tell you how frustrating it was to have bills come to the floor and people didn't know what's in them. The leadership knows, but the rank and file don't. And if you're tired of getting those panic emails saying they're about to do something awful again, we can have a better way of correcting government if we will start with having good information and focusing on what's right and what's wrong.